and welcome to Borgcast Original Series 2.22, all the twos, three little ducks or something. Anyway, with Anne-Marie and Peter.
Yeah, it's a big pile of twos. Hello! We've got a little bit of a last time, covering by any other name. We heard from Jeffrey Mark Hyman. It's an odd one, but I dig it. I think it's pretty clever how the otherwise invincible Kelvins are brought low by simple human flaws. And it's great that antimatter isn't the solution to this week's problem, but rather communication and understanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good that it wasn't antimatter for a change, yeah. And we've also heard from Purry. Just to confirm that Scotty's quarters absolutely reflect standard Scottish decor. Can't move in my house for bagpipes and kilts on the walls and bottles of old whiskey hidden in suits of armour. Scottish IKEA is wild.
Mackay? That doesn't really work, does it?
No.
Blimey. Wow, well, we suspected as much. Excellent. But now we return to tomorrow for no good reason, because that title doesn't at all reflect the episode, does it? I mean,
no.
At no point is that referenced in the episode.
No.
I mean, unlike the previous episode where it was like blatantly, Kirk goes by Rose by her name. I wonder how this episode got its title, whereas this one was like, what the heck? Anyway, written by John Kingsbridge. Real name, John T. Duggan. Can you guess why he went with a pen name?
No.
Well, Roddenberry interfered with his script. Oh, what a surprise. Although apparently that boiled down to the ending being that Sargon and Thalassa were wandering the universe as disembodied consciousnesses at the end, rather than giving up their lives. Duggan, apparently a devout Catholic, disagreed with this on theological grounds, i.e. them taking their own lives.
Yeah.
Ironically,
But they're not taking their own lives, they're sacrificing themselves for the greater good.
Yeah.
Just like at the end of The Exorcist.
Yeah, I think Roddenberry's ending is actually better. There you go. He was right to interfere. Wow.
Well, broken clock's right twice.
Yeah. And it makes them seem more noble, since they know
Yeah.
that they might be tempted to take over someone else in the future, so let's make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Directed by Ralph Sinensky. 5th of 7. His last one was Obsession. It was going to be Pevney, but he quit by now.
Okay.
Boo. Sinensky later commented that he wasn't a fan of the episode. And he's not the only one.
Medical log. 3 alien minds now inhabit the bodies of Captain Kirk, Science Officer Spock, Dr. Ann Mulhall.
I am Sargon.
Go along with us.
Lend us your bodies for a short time.
And destroy them.
I could destroy you with one thought.
Spock's consciousness is gone. We must kill his body.
Pain, Captain. Exquisite pain.
Without the same formula, Captain Kirk will die.
It is therefore necessary for you to kill your captain, so that Sargon will die with him.
What is it?
He's dead.
So, we get sort of a cold open with Sulu saying that there's...
Sulu's back!
Yay!
Woo! He's wandered in on the sets. Oh, have I still got a job here?
And he says the reading is growing stronger and it's coming from the star system straight ahead. And Spock says that they are hundreds of light years from any Earth ship has ever been, and there's nothing coming through on transmission, and the planet is Earth-like, what a surprise, but it's old and dead. And then you hear, I am Zargon, at which my brain automatically heard as Zardoz.
The gun is good. The gun is good. The penis is evil.
It's Sargon, but yes.
And he's used his thoughts to touch the instruments, but he can speak. He's speaking now, but there's no transmission coming through. And he says, I am as dead as my planet. And it's like, right, okay. And then he says that all of humanity must perish. And you're like, that's nice.
Yeah, cheerful, isn't it? He's voiced by James Doohan.
Is he?
Yes. I wonder if he got extra pay for this episode. I hope he did. Or are they running out of money at this point in the season, and therefore he was a cheaper option?
Possibly,
I
don't know.
That's what I said. Sargon is such a cliched sci-fi name, isn't it? It's like, they didn't try very hard with that one, didn't they?
No, not
At
really.
least it wasn't Zardoz anyway.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, the pants.
Yes. So that's your teaser.
Yes.
And then afterwards you have the captain's log. And he basically says he's going to continue to, see what what this holds because of his mission, because they are supposed to seek out new life. And then they hear a voice asking for help, and it's coming from beneath the surface. Sargon can make beaming there possible. Kirk then turns around to Spock and says, I can't risk you coming as well. We can't have the captain and the first officer. Is this the first time?
This is literally the first time they've actually said this logical thing that they should have been saying all the time.
Yeah.
It's like just this once they think, oh, actually, it wouldn't make sense, would it? But we've got to come up with a reason.
Yeah, so all the lights go dim, and then it's like, oh, I think maybe Sargon wants you to come. And then the lights go back on again. So McCoy and Scotty are understandably wary because it's somebody else controlling the transporter and they've got to go through rock. But Spock's checked the coordinates and says they're right. And then stringed music plays, all soppy, and there's Pulaski. And she's not called Pulaski, but it's the same. It's Diana Muldaur who played Pulaski, and so I've just called her Pulaski throughout.
Yes, Dr. Anne Mulhall. Possibly Pulaski's easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
She'll return as a different character in season 3 as well, by the way, so...
She'll be Pulaski again.
Yeah, and she was in BJ and the Bear.
Hey there, where you going? Not exactly knowing. Who says you have to call just one place? Oh, he's going everywhere. DJ McKay and his best friend there.
No word on whether she was Pulaski in that one. She was in 24 episodes of La Law and voiced Dr. Leslie Tompkins in 5 episodes of the Batman animated series of the early 90s. It has to be said she's mostly played doctors in her career, although she's not a medical doctor here.
No, she's an astrobiologist, but
Yes.
wearing red.
That doesn't make any sense. And the insignia is operations rather than the sciences as well.
Yeah.
I can only think they didn't have a blue costume that fitted her, so they put her in a red one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a lieutenant commander, but Kirk doesn't know who she is.
That's really mysterious. She's the most highest ranking woman we've ever had and ever will have in the original series, and Kirk doesn't recognise her. Yeah. And she's also beautiful. I mean, what are the chances that Kirk hadn't spotted her before
exactly. Now, she says she got orders, and the assumption is that those have come from Zargon.
She's still with us at the age of 85.
I thought she was dead.
No. Not according to Emery Alpha anyway. And was last heard of judging dog shows, which is quite sweet.
Cool. So they're all getting ready to beam down, and then did you notice this? Where does McCoy stand? Because every little spot thing's occupied, and he gets up to go. Where's he gone?
I don't know. I didn't look that carefully.
Okay. I mean, it turns out it doesn't matter because the 2 security guards get left behind deliberately by Sargon.
Yeah, it's a change, isn't it? And they don't die, so you know.
No, they're just there.
Different.
And this, when they land in the cavey thing, they've got communications and stuff, but they are going through 100 miles of rock, over 100 miles. So I was with McCoy on this one. I would not have wanted to transport down. She says that the atmosphere is slightly richer in oxygen than they're used to, but everything's otherwise normal. Spock says the cave was constructed thousands of years ago.
Yes, when they couldn't make decent sets. Yeah. Because this has got to be the worst cave set yet. It looks like plastic. It's terrible.
And then they go through a door to find a glowy ball, and that's Sargon.
Yes.
Except it's the essence of his mind.
Essence of Sargon. That sounds like a blooming perfume, doesn't it?
It does, yes. I just thought was it sweet essence of giraffe?
My darling, in my cardboard-coloured dreams. Cardboard-coloured dreams. Once again, I hear your laugh. And I kiss, yes, I kiss your perfumed hair. But she's not there. The sweet essence of giraffe.
That's it, yes. Bonzos.
Yeah. And he says, you'll find that I am matter, I'm energy without form. It's like, oh, right, okay.
Yes, energy beings, again. It's amazing that Kurt thinks it's impossible, because I'm sure we've had this several times already.
We have now, I think, yeah. And then he says that the term, my children, is deliberate, because it's possible that they are indeed his descendants, because they went about the galaxy spreading their seed.
Ew. Do your zip up.
Pulaski says that life on Earth evolved separately, independently.
Yeah, she had to say that because otherwise the creationists would get very miffed, apparently. So.
Why would they get creationists be less miffed when she uses the term evolved?
Yeah, I suppose, yes.
But interestingly, Spock says, well, that would explain a Vulcan prehistory, so it's always tying into panspermia. But panspermia as a theory, it just
It's all about how you spread your seed, yes, I know.
it just relocates the problem of how life started. It doesn't answer the question, it just moves it somewhere else.
Yes.
So it pisses me off.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that it pisses me off, like, as a, it can't possibly be true pisses me off.
Because it doesn't match the Bible.
No, it pisses me off because it doesn't actually answer it's presented frequently as an answer to the question about how,
Where life came from.
Yes, and it doesn't answer the question.
Because where did it come from before it got to us?
Exactly,
Yeah,
yes. So
I know.
that's what pisses me off, is that, it's...
I think you'll find that only smarties have the answer.
Yeah, okay. I prefer M&M's, though.
Get out! God, that's heresy.
Why? The chocolate's nicer.
No, Smarties is the best. Plus, you don't get awful bloody Smartie stores in Leicester Square selling tat to tourists.
No, but Smarties made by Nestle and they kill babies.
Allegedly.
Yeah, it wasn't. They used to be an English company. That's the thing. Roundtree Macintosh, don't you know?
Yes. I don't think they
Allegedly.
kill babies. I think it was Nestle
No,
that did.
they got taken over by the company that kills babies.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's why I don't eat Smarties.
Okay. Well, I don't know anymore.
M&M's
But they are
don't
better.
kill babies.
I don't know. I've never tried them.
You must have tried M&M's.
I must have tried M&M's at some point, yes, but Smarties are better.
Well, how do you know if you haven't eaten them since they were taken over by Nestle?
I don't know. They were better.
Okay.
I just find the whole M&M's, taking over the Leicester Square and the men in the suit, and it's all very American and horrible. So yeah, I'm
Well,
not a fan.
it's American, but it's not only Americans that have weird ass mascots. Do you remember what was he called? The Honey Monster. He was
Yes.
a fuck off weird
I
mascot.
like the
thing.
honey. Don't you have a go at the
Oh,
honey monster
God.
now?
Tell him about the honey, Mummy.
Messing with my childhoods. And I bet we'll find out he was American as well or something. Was it Quaker Oats did Sugar Puffs?
Oh, I don't know.
I think so. Not sure that was an American company or not. But anyway.
Oh gosh, what about Frosties?
Tony the Tiger, they seemed very American, those adverts, didn't they? I'm sure he played baseball at one point, didn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah. See?
But come on, what
It's all a
about
conspiracy.
what about the twatty Milky Bar kid?
Nothing can explain the Milky Bar Kid.
No.
The Milky Bars are on me!
I mean, that was... I was so British it hurts kids dressed as a cowboy.
Yes.
Looking really, really bad.
And not even attempting an American accent.
No. Well, oh dear.
Anyway, sorry, that was a slight tangent.
Diversion.
1970s British TV mascots and things. Anyway, I've lost where I am on my notes. I'm so sorry. I got so distracted.
And look under Sugar Puffs.
No. So apparently, Sargon says that as a race they had dared to think of themselves as gods because their minds were so powerful.
Oh, well, we've got really powerful aliens again, have we? For a change.
And then Kirk gets possessed and the shacting
Oh,
is fucking
I did
awful.
warn you last time about this. The shacting in this episode is ripe beyond belief. Wow, he goes full drama class, pretend you're a tree, doesn't he?
Oh, he does.
Walks around like he's crapped his pants.
And then he starts talking like he does in his spoken word albums.
Yes.
But then, of course, today is Thanksgiving. So, of course, he's trying to warn us of the dangers of deep-fried turkey.
Clearly, yes.
I want a deep-fried turkey. I want a moister, tastier turkey. I want a deep-fried turkey.
So, basically, these aliens are kind of like body snatchers. They want Pulaski and Spock.
But they're very polite body snatchers. They
Yeah.
ask for permission first.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be body borrowers, but it doesn't quite work out that way, does it?
No. And then Sargon says that only the best of them survived. And his...
Well, that's a sad outlook, considering how things turn out.
Yeah, and his task was to search with his mind.
Probing, waiting, probing.
Like, Fanar.
No, it's just awful.
And then he says he wants to borrow human bodies in order to build mechanical bodies. And Pulaski's right. She's like, can't you just get our engineers to do that?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, because we
They're
know
not
more
good
than
enough.
you. And it's like, well, yeah, so you tell us what to do and we do it. Do you mean that's... Oh, doesn't make any fucking sense at all. And then you get Kirk, who's sort of collapsed very dramatically.
I mean, it doesn't look like they're going to survive long enough to make androids, really, does it, at this point?
No.
But as things turn out, it's a bit different for Spock, so...
And then Kirk is like, I don't fear him. And then Pulaski's like, yeah, but that could be a form of false euphoria, which is true. And then on the ship, Scotty's like, they're going to what? It's just like,
Yeah.
And basically, they want the bodies of the captain and the second and he's like, you want the bodies of the captain and the second in command? Is that not dangerous? He's like, yep. But Pulaski's like, I'm a scientist, and which is what the point at which we just went, why are you not in blue then?
Yeah.
And then they start listing all the things that they could, teach humanity. And McCoy's like, yeah, but all for a list of miracles, We mustn't kid ourselves.
McCoy is so right in this episode. He should be the captain. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can't tell me there's no danger. And then Kirk gives an impassioned speech. I could order you, but I won't. And it's like, do you think that everybody in Starfleet Academy gets taught that when the captain says I could order you, but I won't, you have to go and do it and say yes, because otherwise nobody on your ship is going to talk to you anymore and your name will be mud. And so actually they are ordering you and you just say yes and do what they're told.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time, like the ship's going off in towards a battle or something, or usually against the Federation. And it's like, well, what are you going to do with the people who don't want to join you then? There's going to sort of, sit it out in a holodeck or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Shatner's acting this scene.
Oh,
is
it's just
the risk is our business, which is such a dumb catchphrase. Oh dear, oh dear. Why should risk be your business? In other episodes, they talk about how they've had all this training and stuff, and actually they shouldn't be taking risks, but suddenly they're risky people for the plot's sake.
And then he says, do I hear one negative voice? And McCoy and Scotty don't say anything. And they could go, yeah.
Stupid.
But, if he's putting it to the vote or saying he's made his decision or whatever, that's fine. And also, to be fair, McCoy and Scotty aren't the ones putting themselves at risk. So it could be that Spock and Pulaski...
It's only the three of them that get a vote.
Well, it could be that they say they want to. The other two say, we're not happy with this. And then Kirk turns around to the other two and says, do you still want to go ahead given these reservations?
I would still, if I were McCoy, be putting my foot down and saying two most senior officers, no. There's got to be somebody else that's suitable on the ship. And they try and make the point that there isn't, but I mean, what are the chances of that?
No.
Captain and the first officer, right, okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, I get that with the captain, he's already hosted, as it were, Sargon and is happy to. That's fine. I don't have a problem with...
That's not really working very well, is it?
No. But in a way, I don't have
And that's not just the acting we're getting.
And, if Pulaski's a scientist interested, that's fine. But they should very legitimately find somebody other than Spock.
Definitely.
I don't think it holds up at all.
No. So anyway, they beam up the balls.
Balls. All you need are balls. To succeed on balls. All you need are...
In sickbay, Sargon, Thalatha, I can't pronounce her name, and Henok are transferred to the Enterprise volunteers. Nimoy clearly relishes playing an emotional character.
Yeah.
And he's having the time of his life in this. He's sometimes almost as over top as Shatner, unfortunately.
He does seem that way, but then I think you can put it down to the character. Possibly. But there's a couple of points where you
it's a little bit too twirly moustache evil. I think if he'd underplayed it a bit, it'd seem more shocking. But as it is, he's a batting light from as soon as he opens his mouth and leches over Chapel. Oh, that's
that is gross. But what gets me is not that. It's the derpy grin. I immediately thought of his stupid record.
Bilbo Baggins is only 3 feet tall.
Happy birthday, Frodo, by the way, today.
Oh, right,
yes.
okay.
This is a significant date, really, isn't it? Anyway, Sargon and Thalatha embrace. Yeah.
Thalisa, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Very good. Yes, all very predictable. Henok looks on in something approaching horror. Does he fancy Sargon? Which would be ironic. What's her face? Go on, tell me. Thalasa. I can't do that name. And Sargon collapses. But Henok says that Spock's body is made of stronger stuff, which admittedly fits what we know, so fair enough. Sargon tells McCoy to administer a metabolic injection, and the other two vacate their bodies. It's funny how Mordor doesn't feel the need to gurn when it happens, though. As Henok prepares the 3 hypos, Chapel points out that Sargon's dose is of a different formula, which will kill Kirk. Sargon touches her head and wipes her memory of the conversation, which kind of brainwashes her. We see Sargon and her working on some very low-tech android circuitry. Very low-tech.
It just looks like...
inside of a radio. They've broken open a transistor radio.
But the way they've arranged it in all little sections, it just looks like when you go to a zoo and it's like look inside the ant's nest.
There's a bit of a running weakness of the original series that their high-tech often looks like 60s tech.
Yeah.
Compare this with how well Next Generation does in, right from the beginning. It's like those isolinear chips and things, they still look vaguely futuristic now, to be honest. So
I mean,
all right, you've got your memory sticks now that are probably smaller than that, but ultimately,
they've got
for
a
the
lot
time,
of information on.
Yeah, and ultimately for the time, that was really high tech. Whereas, in the 60s, this was 60s tech. It wasn't high tech at all.
I think what Next Gen gets right is the isolinear chips. They don't even really look like what we've got now. In other words, they're sufficiently different for it to look good, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be some brainy person's idea of the future. It just has to be really different.
Exactly, yeah. Hanok tries to persuade Thalesa that staying in their house...
Why can't you say
I don't know. I've got like a lisp when it... Oh, no.
Thalesa.
That one. That staying in their host bodies would be better. She rebuffs him, but it clearly affects her. She reflects with Sargon, who then collapses. When he arrives, McCoy pronounces Sargon and Kirk's body dead. Surprise, surprise. Handily, the captain's consciousness is still in Sargon's globe. The doctor is assisted by another nurse who's not named. She's played by Cindy Lou, and this is her only acting role. It's good to see another black crew member, anyway.
Yeah. What did she do if she didn't act? Did she go on to do something completely different?
That is not the sort of thing that IMDb tells you, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
So. Presumably she's used as Chapel is not herself, thanks to Henok's brainwashing thing. Henok and Thalesa are working on an android body. Which is...
Why can't you say Thalesa?
I don't know! You didn't say it very well that time either.
Oh,
so
Thalesa, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Thalesa.
Oh, stop wiggling it around and point at it.
And the iPad.
Let's try that again. Can you point to her name? Thalesa.
I don't know. Anyway, they've been working on an android body, which is Paul William Hadley, who's an extra we've seen often at the con, and he's in this episode as well, sat next to George Takei. He's been completely shaved from the waist up and covered in latex for this, and it looks really creepy, to be fair. She rejects the idea of entering the android body. She goes to McCoy and offers to save Kirk in return for keeping Mulhall's body. Riley, he refuses. She threatens to take what she wants by force if needs be, and calls him a prancing savage medicine man. How would. Before then zapping him with purple tickles, as you do. She realises that Sargon was right about the temptations of a living body and apologises. We hear the disembodied James Doohan voice of Sargon congratulate her. Apparently he has the power to survive death that the others weren't aware of, which is convenient for the plot. He's placed his consciousness into the ship, apparently. Now, a possessed Enterprise sounds like a much more interesting plot to me. If an alien possessed the ship, I mean, I don't think they ever do that, which is a shame, because that's a really good idea. When McCoy re-enters the biobed area, Kirk is alive again, and Mulhall has been returned to her own body, and the three globes destroyed, including the one containing Spock's consciousness, apparently. Kirk then says they have to kill his body too. Cut to Uhura, screaming on the bridge as Enoch stares at her. Other than a line at the start of the episode about picking up a signal, this is her only input in the episode, which is shocking when you think she could have been front and centre, because why have we got Mulhall doing this and not Uhura?
Yeah.
Because she's the regular character. That would be far better. Is it because we can't have Kirk falling in love with Uhura, admittedly with different, consciousnesses in their bodies?
Well, the first interracial kiss
Later on.
Later.
Yeah.
Could be that. I mean, arguably...
And that's completely under duress.
Yeah. Arguably, that Sargon has picked Pulaski because she's a scientist.
Right.
And Uhura is not a scientist.
I mean, let's face it, Uhura doesn't generally go on away teams, unfortunately.
No.
Though she has done a few times.
I mean,
not very often. But it just seems stupid that they are underutilising Uhura so much.
Yeah.
Here is a front and centre female role that she could have fulfilled really nicely.
Yeah.
But
It would have been good. And I suspect that either they wanted a reason to bring in another actress for Roddenberry to put Perv over.
Possibly, yes.
That could have been
so
it.
much so that he brought her back again the next season.
Yeah, so...
And in the next generation.
It could genuinely be racism. I'm not saying it isn't. It could genuinely be racism, but I think it's just as likely to be Roddenberry's perviness, to be honest.
Could be. Anyway, when Kirk and the others enter the bridge, he and Mulhall are subjected to pain too, and it's bizarre comparing Shatner, who's giving it his all as usual, with Mordor, who looks like she's suffering from mild stomach cramps.
Yeah.
There you go. A seemingly possessed Chapel removes the hypo McCoy was intending on using on Henok, But when the Eviltron orders her to inject the Doctor, she uses the hypo on Henoch instead. Sargon stops him transferring to another body as well. Kirk begins to deliver a eulogy for Spock, but Sargon reveals the injection was only enough to cause unconsciousness, fooling Henoch into leaving what he thought was a dead body for no reason. And cunningly, Sargon had transferred the Vulcan's consciousness to Chapel, which is a nice touch. I like that plot point. That's good. Sargon tells them that Talesa and him will now depart into oblivion, having shared Kirk and Mahall's bodies for one last time for a snog. There's a weird ending bit where Mahal seems to be saying she enjoyed the out-of-body kissing of Kirk or something. And Chapel says it was beautiful, like she's a Disney princess loving 14-year-old or something.
Oh, yeah.
And Spock looks understandably embarrassed by the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, the rest of us are as well.
The only thing I can think of is that what Chapel is finding beautiful is a last tender moment between two people before they sacrifice themselves for the sake of humanity. You don't know that that's what she's saying.
No, you've got to infer that.
You've got to infer it, but you could do.
I mean, I suppose you could have wished you could have oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a good basic story here with a clever resolution, but it does feel like we've already done this alien possession plot a few times. I mean, that might just be, of course, it comes up a lot in later Trek, of course, but, But add to that the fact that Kirk seems stupid to allow their bodies to be taken over, as it was always going to go pear-shaped. Shatner's acting hits an all-time low in this.
Yeah.
Plus, there's the horrible taint of racism hanging over the episode, given her could have been the crew member Talesa possesses.
Yeah.
So, I'm filing this under toss, folks. But you could see that coming a mile off, could you not?
Yeah. I mean, I've got through quite a lot of beer. I could have potentially got through more if I wasn't writing at the same time.
Yeah, it was just painful at times.
So many times it was painful. And normally, Nimoy would lift something like this, but he sinks to the depth that...
Yeah, he's not great either, actually. So.
No. And also, it's just so fucking predictable. Oh, we're only going to borrow your bodies. Oh, now we want to keep them. Oh, I never fucking saw that.
Oh, what a surprise. Who saw that? Well, McCoy saw that coming, to be fair.
Yeah.
Give him some respect.
I mean, I suppose, for me, that's one of the few saving graces of this.
Yeah, McCoy's amazing,
Yeah.
Anyways, did other people like this? Who knows? We're about to find out, though, as we hear from Jeff.
And Jeff writes... Not one of my favourites, but I appreciate the interesting big concept ideas. It's nice Nimoy gets to stretch a bit, but the interpersonal power dynamics of three characters we've just met fails to capture my interest. Finally, despite being dangerously hammy, the risk is our business speech is a highlight of the entire series for me.
Oh, wow, I hated that. I'm sorry, it didn't make any sense.
Well, I don't know, it depends.
Risk is nobody's business.
It depends why he likes it. Does he like it as a prime slice of Shakti?
No, he seems to think it. Yeah, not the impression I got. But anyway, each to their own. Mr. Boss has this to say. The first thing I noticed that was Mr. Sulu was back for the first time in ages.
Yep.
I'm not sure why he bothered, though, because he wasn't given much to do, as the episode had more scenes in sickbay than on the bridge.
That's true.
The episode started off with me thinking it was going to be superpowered godlike aliens again, who the crew would have to fight, but it turned out to be more intelligent than that. More painful. It was made clear early on that the aliens in the disco balls wanted human bodies, but for a change they asked instead of just taking them, which is true. That's a good point. Having the crew possessed by the aliens led to a fun performance by Nimoy, and an over-the-top one from Shatner, just slightly.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the twist when the alien who had taken Spock's body chose to betray the others. Sorry, that was a twist. That was set up for them immediately, wasn't it? What I don't understand is why, if Spock's consciousness could be shared with Nurse Chapel's, why the others needed to stay in the spheres. So what? Couldn't they have just shared the bodies from the start? No, because it's not the aliens sharing. In that case, it's a human sharing. It's a Vulcan sharing with a human. Spock in Chapel, isn't it? Whereas these superpowered aliens are clearly too big. There's not enough space for a human in there as well. I think it's a theory, but anyway. I also didn't understand why Lieutenant Mahal had a red uniform instead of a blue science one. Yeah, but at least I worked out where I'd seen the actress before. Took me a while, though. It's the voice that really gives it away, isn't it? Overall, there were a lot of things we'd seen before, but there was enough in the story to keep me engaged despite some of the acting. Shatner. There wasn't a jokey ending either, So hopefully they've given up on those. I wouldn't. Yeah, it wasn't jokey, but it was bloody weird.
It was odd. Yeah. Thank you, boss.
Thank you, Mr. Bossman. Don't know why they've shown that. That's an interesting peek into Sampo and Yona's feedback. Sometimes they put a GIF on the email they send it in, and this is a scene from the Big Lebowski where they're
polishing the balls.
Their Jesus is polishing the balls. Yes, my heavens. Let's find out what they have to say.
Hello.
Hello.
So we just watched Return to Tomorrow.
What happened in it?
Balls. As in consciousnesses stored in balls.
And violins.
Yeah, whenever the woman spoke, the romantic music again follow her everywhere.
The woman had a name, Anne Mulhall.
Yep.
She was great.
Didn't have much of an impact because she was an alien for most of the episode.
Yeah, but Nurse Chapel had quite a big role too.
But she was also under the control of an alien. And then she had Spock inside her for an hour.
Oh, that must have been pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uhura was like, ah!
She was like, that was straight out of a horror movie. Ah! But my point was that actually all the agency was with the aliens because the crew actually didn't do almost anything.
And they were quite reasonable.
There was the good one, the bad one, and the one in the middle who turned out to be good. Really refreshing that we had a nice, reasonable, godlike alien. And I mean, one of them turned out to be a dick, but I mean, they were individuals, which is refreshing. So we got to see Leonard Nimoy acting a bit differently.
Yes, but Kirk, being under an alien mind, he still acted like Kirk.
If you took away the echo from his voice, he would have just been Kirk.
Where did this echo come from?
I don't know.
What was the shacking thing? Was it time to shack a crew member thing?
Hard to explain, with all the intonating in the wrong places and the interesting gaps in the dialogue. I mean, hard to explain.
When he was having this speech.
Yeah, I mean, no pressure, but I could order you, but no pressure, you all have to decide yourselves.
And now we have decided, and now if you say no, then this will.
Yeah, what a bully. Great.
Yes. But the idea of the engine being a size of a walnut, now that's your progress. And when they were doing the apparatuses, it sure wasn't size of walnut, I tell you that.
Yeah, it wasn't, but I mean, it was there was the android body, which was, well, for some reason, human shape and size, and then...
Yeah, like human men, and then the bad alien was like, well, I just add some women parts and decorations, and so you'll be pleased. Like,
he was being a dick, and he was provoking her on purpose, so, I mean...
Are you defending him?
No, I'm explaining his actions.
To me.
Although, yeah, when he woke up, the first thing was like, ooh, a woman.
Yeah, I was like, okay, they woke up the chauvinist.
Yeah, I mean, he's been inside a ball for 500,000 years. I mean, I can't say what I...
Maybe they were just thieves. Just floating in the time and space. Or what was it called? But it sounds soothing. Just floating there.
Suddenly a woman. But I mean, I liked the bad guy. I mean, he was so arrogant and like sort of
I think
almost cool.
Yeah, I think if he'd been chosen to be in Kirk's body, Kirk wouldn't have done this good acting.
But yeah, I mean, I think I kind of liked this episode. It flowed nicely.
I think that this was, I guess it was classic.
Are we starting that then?
No.
Yeah.
I liked this episode too.
We had cool Spock and balls. What else do you need? What else do you need?
And this ending scene was marvelous. Like Kirk having his sneer, and then the woman and Mulhall giving her awkward smile, and she wasn't drawn to this charm that they say Kirk has.
That's true. I mean, she didn't seem to fall for him at any point, which is always a bonus.
Yeah, she is now my hero.
What a low bar. Okay, let's see what we get next week.
Yes.
If you'll find a new hero.
Looking forward.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good luck. Looking for heroes next week, am I? Yeah, Spock and Balls, definitely. We got 2 votes for there, I think.
Yeah.
Bunch of floaters.
Yeah. And you're right, it is kind of just... Well, you say it's just Kirk with an echo. I mean...
No, he does ramp his performance up a little bit, unfortunately. And let's face it, it was pretty damn ramped up to begin with. So.
Yeah. And you're right, it is a nice change that there is a nice godlike alien.
Yeah.
One of them is a dick, but the idea that one of them is
nice,
that's
a better aspect to the episode, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah. And like that, it's like passive-aggressive pressure. Yeah, no, you don't have to volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right, too much violins. Blimey, O'Reilly. A number of times that. Jeezy. Anyways.
What did the llama god make of this?
Yeah, we shall find out.
Namgeslok, Scotty, Fixie Tree, Unyek, Fixie Un. Night Hawk, this is London Calling. Come in. Now, this is an odd episode in a number of ways. Not a bad one, but certainly an odd episode. Because we've got another story here of superpowered aliens, which we've seen very, very, very recently. But this time they're benevolent. So that's an interesting little twist on it. They are superpowered beings who could quite easily take over the Enterprise. They could leave Kirk and co helpless, as we saw in the last episode. But this time they actually genuinely just want the help of the Enterprise, and there's no foul play involved. At least that's not the intention of Sargon. Obviously other things happen there, but the general intention is one of goodwill. So that's quite nice and refreshing to see for a change that, the superpowered godlike aliens aren't actually antagonistic, so that is good. But still, once again, we see the crew completely out of their depths, unable to deal with these beings because, they're just far too powerful. But it's also an episode, much like the previous episode, this is a story in which the human experience, the human perception of feeling and sensation is pivotal to the downfall of this week's superpowered aliens and eventually the downfall of the antagonistic character. So, but a lot of similarities here, a lot of similarities to the previous one. And although in the previous episode they were all turned into bath bombs, in this episode they're just observers, really. They take a very, very passive role in this. There's not a lot that could have really gone, except for, of course, Spock saving the day towards the end, but he wasn't unaided, so the Enterprise crew were very passive in this episode, so completely taken over. So there's very interesting to see those parallels there. So it's a nice and interesting little story there, but, and there's the but, and I'm sure you've already mentioned it, how could you not? It's Shatner. Yes, it's Shatner. This is a Shatner showcase, a showcase of Shat. Yes, not the best though, is it really? He really gets to do his entire range here. This is his CV, this is his demo reel, isn't it? From the being possessed stuff, to trying to act like Sargon, to just going over the top. There's just so much of it, and it does unfortunately get a little bit tiresome. Especially the scene where Kirk has to convince the crew that this is the thing that they should do to be helpful, to let the aliens have their bodies. He launches into this long, very self-important speech, and the camera is on him for a good couple of minutes, and it's very uncomfortable. And clearly, this being the latter stages of the season, the negotiations must have been happening for a next season or something. So, this was clearly one of those demands to get more time with more material, and it just feels a bit forced and uncomfortable. I don't like it that much, unfortunately. Yes, risk is your business, but also making everything about it is your business, so I'm not so much enjoying being a party to that, unfortunately. And the other disappointing part of the episode is the character of Mulhole. Now, not that she's a bad character, she's very well played by our future Doctor, but they wanted a female character, and gotta say, Uhura is right there. Yeah, she's right there. I mean, even Jo commented at the start of the episode, and Jo only kind of passively watches these episodes while I have them on. She commented that she noticed that it's only about the big three now, so Uhura getting left behind did stick out a bit. A point is made in the story of the episode that it kind of has to be this way because Kirk doesn't know Mulhole particularly well, but on the other hand, that's bollocks, isn't it? I'm pretty sure the main reason was they just didn't want to have a possessed Kirk and Uhura snogging because that would have been too much for TV at the time. So that is very disappointing because this episode could have given Nishan, of course, an awful lot more to do. So I'm sure you would have been into this and how maybe it was originally planned for someone else. But I know it felt very uncomfortable that this is a role that could have been played by any of our regular female characters, any two of them, and they got a guest starring instead. So, I guess that means things less uncomfortable in the future because there are no repercussions to deal with, but all the same, very, very disappointing there. So definitely a couple of downsides there. It's nice to always see the episode though out with the acting. I think this is also interesting that there's 2 episodes in a row now where Spock has faced an unknown substance that is tougher than anything he's even encountered before, leading him to utter the line, much stronger or harder than anything I've measured before. Oh yeah, quickly, let's head to those slash and try and motivate everyone. And Nimoy's performance as Hinnock is wonderful. It's really, really smug and knowing, and in a weird way really puts me in mind of Zachary Quinto, not in his Spock performance, but in some of his turn as Silo in Heroes, which made Quinto taking on the role of Spock later much more fitting. So yeah, that was nice to see. Yeah, I did really enjoy Nimoy in this one. He's clearly having some fun there. And I do like the moment when Scotty is won over with the promise of a warp core the size of a tangerine, or a walnut, or something like that, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, there's nice little ways to get the crew on board, but yeah. So yeah, not a bad story this, but the execution leaves a little bit to be desired, unfortunately. So again, this is going to be a sort of a more mid-tier episode, unfortunately. Before we go, we do of course have to update the Kirk snog count. Well, we don't, because although Kirk's body kisses, it's not actually him doing it. So I'm not going to add this one to the count, although now I realise I should have been running a Shatner snog count as well, because clearly this is other demands that the actor's been making, clearly to make himself the sex symbol. I mean, how many times in the episode is it uttered that Kirk has the perfect body? It's like, yeah, come on, this is about as transparent as your fragile glass ego, so come on, let's leave it off now. And the ending of the episode, yeah, where Sargon and Thalassa have one last kiss as they depart. Chapel comments, it was beautiful, to which Joe responded, it was gross. And I think we'll just leave that there. So as ever, I'm looking forward to finding out what everyone else made of this episode. I shall once again just hope that everyone is well. I think that's the best we can hope for right now. And until next time, glory to you and your cast.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah,
I'm
it
with
was.
Joe, definitely.
No need.
And yeah, I like the idea, and I think I agree that it might not have been a Kirk snog, but it was definitely a bloody Shatner
Oh,
snog.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yes. It's just... Oh, dear. And it's interesting, some people like myself, Nimoy's a bit OTT, other people quite like it. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it, I don't think, really. A showcase of shats, there's a phrase, blimey. And unfortunately, yes, most of the crew are passive and pointless, unfortunately.
Yep.
And your point about benevolent superpowered aliens would have worked well had they all been benevolent.
Yeah.
But, of course, you've got to have at least one. And in this one, we got 1.5, effectively, out of 3, who aren't benevolent. So, I mean, arguably, obviously, there wouldn't be any drama if they weren't a little bit evil. But, yeah, it would have been more of a surprise, wouldn't it? But hey-ho.
Yeah. What did Drew and Tracy make of this?
So we just watched Return to Tomorrow.
And what do we think of that one then?
It's not a classic.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's a classic. It's all right. There's nothing wrong with it. It's
There's a bit wrong with it, but you know.
So Sulu's back.
Yes, we did.
Sulu's
as soon
in.
as we saw him, was like, well, now he's come off his hollybobs, hasn't he? So
Sulu's in. Chekhov's out, though. Where was Chekhov?
Well, yeah, exactly. So.
Yes.
This is the voice of Zargon. Sounded exactly like, this is the voice of the Mysterons. And I just couldn't get that out of my head after that.
Wasn't it? Yeah. Kirk or William Shatner shacked in all the way through. There wasn't a moment he wasn't really shacked in,
I said to you at some point right through this, I was like, he's really shacked in. And I'd never kind of clocked it before, but bloody Nora, when Zargon kind of transferred into his body and he was like doing this
the worst
over his face
was the beginning
like that.
Yeah.
That was just bonkers, wasn't it?
Yep.
So they decide that they're going to beam down onto the planet, and there's however many, 7 of them, 6 of them going down.
Yeah, a lot of red shirts.
But for some reason, the 2 security guards don't beam down with them.
Yep.
Why?
Well, they said that they had been stopped, like it was Sargon and all that lot. But the red shirts are like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that.
Bloody, I'm glad we didn't get down there because we would have not been coming back.
We lived to be in another episode.
Yes, exactly.
But what did Zarkon think that they were going to do?
I don't know, but they only needed them, the 3 of them, or the 4 of them. Didn't really need McCoy, did they, I guess? I liked when Felicia was saying to McCoy, you know, I can bring Kirk back, but it's got to be for your silence about me being Felicia. And McCoy's just like, no dice. So it's good. He's good. He's sticking to his principles.
Absolutely. Nurse Chapel was good in this.
She was good, yeah. She had some good stuff, yeah.
She was like, supporting the Doctor, and then you kind of knew that she knew that something bad was happening and she was going to come good in the end. But it was, I don't know, I just felt she was really good in this episode. We've never seen her play so much.
I know, she had some good stuff in it,
which is really good. We've got to talk about bad Spock now.
Yes, I know. So was it? It's Henoch, isn't it? In
Henoch,
Spock.
yeah.
He's just like
Henoch in Spock.
Henoch in Spock. Yeah, a bit like Spock was in Chapel at the end. Not for the first time, I guess. Yeah, exactly. But Henoch in Spock is just a scheming kind of like he's smiling. He just like smarmy.
Yeah, he is smarmy.
Scheming,
just a bit of a devil.
and yes.
So they want to take over. So the premise of this is that they want to kind of inhabit their bodies so that they can have fingers and hands, as they said, to make humanoids that they can then transfer into. Zargon wants fingers and hands because he wants a 5-knuckle shuffle, mate.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that was just a bit obvious, wasn't it? So it's good to see Diana Mulder in this.
Yep.
Who then went on to be in TNG. We knew her face instantly, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
It was like, who is she? Who is she? And then we kind of worked it out. So that was good. I didn't actually mind this. For me, I think this episode went on a tad too long.
Yeah,
it seemed to go on for too long. They could have told this story in 3/4 of the time.
I think that's the problem with this. It's not a classic, and it's stretched out. There's just not enough going on it. It's just long-winded.
Yeah, and also when they were talking about should they allow Zargon and his crew to inhabit their bodies, and they involved Scotty, didn't they? And they said, "Well, Scotty, I need your approval," but actually, Scotty didn't really have that much to do with it.
No. You say they said Scotty, but then they kept calling him Engineer, didn't they?
Yeah.
Engineer. So
And my children, bit patronising. Anyway, I didn't mind it. For me...
No, I don't mind it, but I just think it's a classic. It's average.
Mediocre.
Mediocre to average, yes.
All right, shall we leave it there?
Okay.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Why did they need Scotty's approval?
Don't know. That was a weird one, wasn't it?
It was.
That's his seniority or something, but yeah.
Why did they keep just calling him Engineer?
They do occasionally, but not as often as this, I think it's fair to say.
And also, if they didn't need McCoy, why did Sargon let McCoy beam down when he didn't let the security guards beam down?
I think that was Sargon being sensible because he knew that he needed a medic to look after Kirk.
Oh.
So
okay.
They should have said something about that, really, but I think that's the reason.
And yeah, is that what? Do you agree that the reason Sargon's all about I want arms and hands is because he wants the 5-knuckle shuffle?
Oh, I mean, that one, McCoy, no dice, definitely. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
And the voice of the Mysterions were rather more underplayed, I think it's fair to say, than Kirk doing Sargon, but there we go.
Yeah.
And finally, it's Purry.
Hello, Orcs. Purry here to talk about Return to Tomorrow. I have no idea why this is called Return to Tomorrow. The title here, TOS always has like some slightly wacky titles at times. Sometimes they go into that old, old kind of 60s sci-fi or pulpy sci-fi thing, of the something is something and what do you call it, but this one, Return to Tomorrow, but it's got nothing to do with time travel or returning. In fact, the plot doesn't, it just seems to be that they pulled the title out of the TOS random titles generator. That said, it's nice to see Sulu back. Yay, Sulu's back off his holidays or whatever it is, back at the helm, so that was nice to see. This one I do remember, and it's a bit of a weird one. Again, it kind of meanders. I think it spends a lot of time on the planet, and again, with Kirk Shatner's shacting, he really does. Oh, blimey, there's some stuff there. I get that he's trying to portray someone who's getting used to walking and, sort of getting used to sensation again, but maybe a wee bit beyond his capability. Hamming it up something often more ham than a ham festival. We also, of course, get Diana Muldaur, who we will see. Well, we saw in TNG. Dr. Pulaski is there. She's popped up in another episode, I'm sure. I don't think we've seen the last of her. Not as the same character. And I'm sure she was in one of Gene Roddenberry's many disused pilots. I can't remember. Probably it involves someone called Dylan Hunt in a post-apocalyptic society, because he went through his Dylan Hunt phase, and the less said about Andromeda, the better. The basic plot of this is that there's 3 ancient aliens who will, use their bodies to build robot bodies. The robot bodies looked a bit naff. It was initially a box full of like bits of old radio, and then a guy covered in jelly. I think it's been so long getting to the point that once we get the idea that was it Enoch, the guy who was inhabiting Spock, is basically a wrong-un, and again, they could have probably built up to that, but pretty much, 20 seconds after he's been there, he goes out and does his wrong-un bit. That said, I thought Nimoy actually played the villain pretty well. There was a suitable creepiness to him. Proper laconic villain. I'd have actually liked to see more of it. It's kind of a shame that it seemed like it was a halfway point by the time they actually got round to getting the plot going. And as a result, it kind of seems rushed. Basically, Sargon dies. There's the brief bit of trying to tempt the lady back into her body, and I quite liked her way of coming round when she was torturing McCoy with what looked like a gas fire or a gas cooker hob ring. But then, yes, they have a plot, but I don't know if it was because I remembered it, but kind of it was blindingly obvious something was up the chapel by the end, so we didn't have that. I mean, it's all the kind of slightly twee ending with her saying, and me and Spock, we shared a body, that was a thing. So yeah, overall, it's not forgettable because I remembered it, but it's just kind of, it's a thing that's just there. I think it's a bit, I think it's like the last one, but at least the last one had some fun to it, at least by any other name had a bit of fun, a bit of a laugh to it. This one's just kind of a thing that happens. And yes, they do try to, I think the problem is they do try to play as a couple of times with, oh, Kirk's died, oh, Spock's died, and I think I always get annoyed when series kind of try to play that for what was presumably stuff to put in the trailer. So yeah, this one, it's there. It's definitely an episode of Star Trek I watched, but is it good? No. Is it bad? No, it's also not bad. Pacing could have been better. So all it remains me to say is do keep up the good work. I always look forward to the podcast, and I hope to feedback to the next one. But until then, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I also have a dislike of False Jeopardy. I don't know whether people watching at the time would have worried that Kirk might be actually dead, or
chances weren't high, were they? So,
or that Spock might be actually dead. I genuinely don't know whether they worried about that or not.
I wouldn't have thought so. But the thing is that each time they spend seconds over it and then they come back again, unlike Discovery.
Yeah,
a character dies, you've got quarter an hour of other characters crying about it, and then they're alive again. Oh, okay, that was worth doing then.
Yeah, didn't they do that in Picard as well?
Probably, yeah.
I also liked Thalessa coming round, that she's like, you've got Sargon as good, Hemlock or whatever his name is,
Hemlock. Enoch
as bad, and you got Thalessa as neutral.
Yes.
And I liked her coming round to sort of, she attacks McCoy and then she realises what she's done and she understands Sargon's perspective. For me, it was one of the good aspects.
That was the best aspect of it, definitely, yes. I think we remember this episode just because of Shatner's performance, which I've also seen in 1,000,001 GIFs as well. But we also don't remember this episode because the title is so stupid.
It is.
It doesn't actually connect with the episode itself. So.
It does sound like a random title generator, doesn't it?
It does rather, yes.
Yeah.
Not very good.
No. What did you think about the pacing? Did you think it was...
Yeah, it was a bit off. Yeah. But that was the least of the problems, really.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody who's fed back.
Thank you.
Okay, stand by your beds, folks. On Tuesday, the 5th of December, Tuesday that is, folks, a little earlier than usual. It must be that season. We're covering Patterns of Force. Trigger warning for Nazis.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
Oh.
Here we go. Yes, it's another parallel universe one. Hurrah. Or parallel development. Nazi Germany. Let's see how that one pans out. Until then, take care. Cheery bye.
Boys, boy.
The Star Trek theme was written by Alexander Courage, and here was arranged and performed by Drew Barker.
The artwork was created by Andy Palastides.
All music referenced is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
Find our website at borgcast.libsyn.com.
And we have a YouTube channel as well.
Send emails or MP3s to borgcast@gmail.com.
Or you can find us over on Mastodon. Our addresses are on the show notes for this podcast.
Shut it down!
Probing, waiting.
Investigating, probing.